So at this time, I would like to introduce our guest speakers, our guest writers. I'm not sure which one's going to read first. Okay, so that would be Marilyn. And Marilyn is an author and an educator. She taught for decades at a last chance high school in Southern California. Most of her students lived hard lives and sometimes were only at school a month or so before they moved on. Not many of them liked to read. She wanted them to gain the breadth and freedom that can come from books. If only I help them establish a reading habit, that would be the gift of a lifetime. Since her first book, Telling, she has written more than 9 more books of realistic teen fiction in the True to Life series from Hamilton High. These books all deal with difficult issues and situations that many teens must face. All her books have been well reviewed, and she's won several awards. So right now I'd like to introduce Marilyn Reynolds. Thank you.
And because this is an adult group, I'm not reading from any of the Hamilton High books. In July 2009, this is from Till Death or Dementia Do Us Part. In July 2009, after 42 years of marriage, my 69-year-old husband, Michael, was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. As frightening and horrendous as that diagnosis was, it went a long way toward explaining the frustrating and puzzling changes in Mike's behavior that I'd been experiencing from as early as 2005. Upon delivering the diagnosis, the neurologist explained that FTD is a neurodegenerative disease. It affects the frontal and temporal regions of the brain, regions that control personality and social behavior, reasoning, speech and language comprehension, and executive functions. There's no known cause, no cure. It is progressive, and the rate of progression is unpredictable. In comparison to the wealth of Alzheimer's publications and media reports that are widely available, information about FTD was scarce at that time. While those of us who loved Mike familiarized ourselves with whatever FTD information was available, we watched him increasingly embody classic textbook symptoms: lack of empathy, poor judgment, socially inappropriate behavior, and we knew there was more to come. This account of the steady deterioration of a much-loved, bright, talented, funny man and friend is unavoidably skewed by my own particular view. But particular as it is, it also depicts much that is common to victims of FTD and other dementias, and to the ones who love them. For those whose lives are being turned upside down by dementia, I hope this account of our experiences opens a window onto the emotional and practical tasks ahead. If such tasks are behind the reader, I hope there may be some comfort in knowing that he or she is not alone with the pain, sadness, frustration, guilt, resentment, and loss that invariably accompany this journey. And so these are generally short essays from different periods of time, and this is from 2010, the year after Mike was diagnosed. It's November of 2010. I've moved us into a retirement community, hoping that the support available there would allow me to keep Mike with me for as long as possible. He is plagued by anxiety, which is not alleviated by any medication. His sense of time has been ripped apart as if it's gone through one of those cross-cut paper shredders. I could no longer leave him alone, so I took him with me to the Folsom Toyota dealer when the Prius was due to be serviced. He sat with me in the office while the manager wrote the repair order. Then we went into the lobby to wait for the shuttle to take us back home. No sooner had we sat down than Mike stood up again. "Let's go." "We're waiting for the shuttle," I said. "Let's get some coffee over there." That took about 3 minutes. "Let's go get the car," Mike said. "It won't be ready until this afternoon." "I'll just walk home," he said. "Mike, you can't walk home. It's pouring down rain and we're 10 miles away from home." "I'll just walk." "No, look at those stuffed animals over there. Do you think Mika would like one? Let's rent a car. The shuttle will be here soon. We should just go buy a car. Our car will be fine as soon as it's serviced." "Okay, I'm walking." He rushed toward the door. Then, miracle of miracles, a longtime friend came walking through the door Mike was about to leave by. "Dave Dawson," Mike said, his old social self emerging. "Well, if it isn't the Reynoldses," Dave said. "I suppose you're out on this stormy morning for the same reason I am." "Mike was just threatening to walk home," I said, careful to keep my tone light. Dave, who knew of Mike's situation, said, "Oh, you don't want to do that. Let's get some of that free coffee over there." "Sure," Mike said, following Dave to the coffee cart. A few minutes later, we were called for the shuttle. Once back in the apartment, I turned on the TV and found an old movie for Mike to watch. That held his attention for about 10 minutes, after which he turned off the TV. "Let's go get the car," he said. "It's not time. They'll call us." "Let's go" was the theme for the next 4 hours. Mike's agitation increased, ways to distract him decreased. I couldn't help wondering, what if Dave hadn't walked through that door when he did? Mike was 6 feet tall and a fast walker. I couldn't have caught up with him had he bolted. Would he have rushed out in the pouring rain, headed toward the freeway, the only route toward home that we knew? A scary thought, and this day was undoubtedly better than the next would be. And while I was writing this journey, I also wrote letters to Mike, to the old Mike. So this is one from 2010. "Dear Mike, I know this letter and all of the letters I've written to you since 2009 are only pretend, that you will never read them, that even if someone were to try to read them to you, you couldn't listen. But it is strangely comforting to be telling parts of this story directly to you, rather than simply telling it about you. The worst part of this most difficult time of my life is that I'm not able to talk through any of it with you. Not the loss of our home, not the endless work of taking care of you, not the bankruptcy process, and having to live with almost no discretionary income. All of that is difficult, and not what I expected to be dealing with in my 70s. But not being able to talk with you, to share my deepest thoughts and feelings with you, that is the very worst. For most of our 40-plus years of marriage, we were each other's closest confidants. Late at night, over dinner, in front of the fireplace, in bed in the mornings, we talked, laughed, worried, reassured. There were times we argued angrily over who knows what, but nearly always our home was a loving home, our bed was a loving bed, and we laughed. I miss that all so much. I miss your arms around me. I miss the warmth of love in your eyes. I miss your frequent, spontaneous compliments. "You're a pretty woman, Marilyn," or "Your lips look delicious." I don't think such compliments will come my way again. I'm ever grateful to be surrounded by friends and family who care for us both, who travel alongside me on this sad, uncharted odyssey, who offer help at every turn. Still, I hunger for your loving support and insights, for the depth of conversation that was once ours together. Loving you to the end, Marilyn.